20% down, a rate of at least 5%,
Okay.
and then a 3 to 5 year balloon.
Okay. Got it. So are any of those, like, is he willing to work on those? I mean, I know you said 3 to 5 years, 10, 20. It sounds like he's not, or she is not quite certain where they want to be at yet.
No, I mean, I think it depends on the offer. They're not like hurting for cash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say in a lot of these situations, most of the time when sellers are willing to sell on seller finance, it's usually not that they need to. It's just kind of if they want to, and if they're looking for the price, if that's really the most important thing. So are they just kind of more so worried about like getting the most out of the property? Hello, Karen, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hey, Karen, can you hear me now?
Yeah. So where did I lose you at?
You just said it's not that they really need to sell, and then all of a sudden it just went. I couldn't hear anything.
Oh, okay, yeah. So they're not really. They don't really need the money.
Mm-hmm.
I think what some people have done is submitted like two different LOIs
Okay.
with two different scenarios. So that could be something that you guys could do.
Mm-hmm.
And they've covered closing costs and the listing agent compensation.
Yeah. So even if I'm like, what's most important to them? Like, is it really the down payment? Is it the price? Like, I mean, there's so many different ways to work this, and if they're gonna become the bank, like, when I walk into Chase, I'm like, hey, I'm looking for a loan. Tell me what loan packages you have, and they're like, hey, I have this one at 3%. I have this one at 5%. So I'm trying to just understand where, if I'm coming to the bank of Karen's client, whatever their name is, what does that look like for them?
I don't think he cares between 10 to 20% down. I think he'd be fine with 10% down.
Mm-hmm.
I think he wants an inflated list price, and the rate can't be like offensive. Like you can't put in for like a 3%.
Okay.
So
So
that's
when you say inflated list price, like what it's listed at
yeah.
now, he wants more than that.
Yeah. So the other offers have come in at higher than list price
Right.
in exchange for the balloon being held for longer.
Okay.
So like if you only held the balloon, if you only had to hold the balloon for like 2 to 3 years, you could come in at list.
Yeah.
If you wanted 5 years, you could inflate that. So
right. Yeah, I think in this case, the most important thing to me is like the price. I don't mind paying more as long as I'm able to cash flow on the property, right? So that's okay with me.
Yeah, I mean it's a numbers game. So
yeah, so I guess I'm just trying to figure out like I haven't really ran the numbers on this one, but like where am I going to make money on it? Is that that's the question. Like at this, let's say inflated list price, which I would need to know what that price is that he wants, to even see what my payments would look like, right?
Yeah, I mean I don't know what your numbers are, but you're welcome to submit two different LOIs. I can tell you, like without seeing what your LOI or what your offer would look like I'm not really like I can't really say. Like I can't really tell you what he's going to push back on if I don't know what it looks like.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like if he's becoming the bank, he needs to give me the terms type of thing of like, because you're just saying an inflated list price, and I'm like, okay, what is that? You have it listed at 349. Is that 355? Like I don't know what that looks like, so I just need to know like what does he want?
Well, I'm for 5 years probably closer to like 370, 375. For 3 years, probably you could make him at list. I don't think he would seller finance it unless like the other terms were really spectacular for below list.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so 375 is what he wants for 5 years.
Correct.
Okay.
This is based on like previous conversations that I've had with him. I won't actually know until I go to him with the offer.
Okay. Well, I just don't want to waste my time or yours, honestly. Of okay, here's one LOI, here's another option. Like, I'd rather just be like, hey, this is the price he wants, and then we can determine what terms will work from there instead of just, you know,
okay, so
going back and forth.
Sure. So, I mean, you could put it in at like 370, whatever, for a 5-year balloon, and then tell me how the rest of the numbers shake out.
Okay, well, what will this property rent for?
Well, it depends on how you want to rent it.
Well, just
I don't know if you're doing like standard long term. I don't know if you're doing like rent to own. I don't know if you're gonna like furnish it. I don't know.
I always want to be able to cash flow as a long term rental, no matter what. Like, at least a little bit. So.
So the rule of thumb in Nashville is usually about $1,000 a bedroom. So this is a 2-bedroom home. It's been fully updated. So like, if I were to model it, I would assume 2, and then whatever expenses you have on top of that is at your discretion.
So my payment would at least need to be under $2,000 for sure to make it work. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if 375 at, you know, even if we did 40-year AM and a 5-year 5% interest or whatever. I don't know.
You could do interest only.
Oh, yeah, no, I definitely wouldn't be interested in something like that.
Okay. I mean, some people like interest only. It's up to you.
Yeah. No, I always want to make sure I'm getting the principal pay down too, because interest only wouldn't make sense if I'm, you know, I just don't want to put myself in a situation where I'm overpaying for the property, paying interest only, and then I'm like, okay, comes to term and I can't refinance, you know. That would not be a fun situation.
Okay. I mean, you're welcome to submit whatever it is you think is reasonable on your end, and then I'll present it.
Yeah, I think that's what we need to do. I think let me know where his actual price is at, and then, like I said, I can run things from there. But like, you're like, I think at 375 for 5 years, like, just let me know what those numbers are, and then I can come back and be like, okay, this works, or here's where I kind of need to be.
So I don't want to tell you what to submit. Like, I don't want to negotiate against my own client. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, you're welcome to submit whatever it is, and then I will go to him and I will say, hey, like, we got this LOI. What do you think? Is there anything you want to push back on? But I'm not going to, like, I wouldn't feel comfortable coming up with the numbers on your behalf.
No, I'm not asking. I'm just asking what he wants as a, like, you have the number online, right? You have list priced right now, $349. Everybody can see it. So tell me his price, what he'll do. Tell me what his price is on seller finance. That's all I'm asking. If he'll carry it for 5 years, what's his price that he wants?
Yeah, I mean, I would say assume 375 for the 5 years, and then assume 350 for the 3-year. That's what I would assume.
Right, but we're just assuming still. So that's what I'm asking. I don't want to waste time. So can you just ask him what, like, hey, what are your actual numbers that you'll take on seller finance for 5 years? And then I can see if I can make that work.
On list? I mean, those are the numbers. Like, I can't really tell you what he will or won't take until I see the down payment, the earnest money, the inspection, the rate. You know, I'm guessing you don't want interest only. Like, I can't tell you whether or not he'll accept an offer without seeing the offer.
I know, I understand that. I'm asking you just to get his price so I can base my numbers off of that price.
I mean, easiest thing, just do it off of list. You don't have to submit at 375. You can submit at 365. You can submit at 360.
But you just told me that he wouldn't accept that. You said if he's going to do seller finance and wants a balloon, that it's going to have to be an inflated price. So I'm saying, okay, that's fine. Just tell me what that number is. And so I can run my numbers based off of that inflated number. So I don't have an issue with that. So, I just need to know what the number is.
Okay, so, you know, like I said, 3 years, 350, 5 years, 375. Like, I mean, if you came in at 370, if the rest of the terms were good, yeah, he'd probably take it. It's not like he's gonna reject something just because you're 5K off on list. Like, it has to depend on like the entirety of the offer.
Yeah, I understand that. I guess so. You're 100% confident that 375 is his numbers for 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to put it at 370, if
No,
you
no,
gave
no,
him
no.
a higher range,
I'm not saying what I want to put it at. I'm asking you what he needs it to be at.
right? And I'm telling you, I can't make that call without seeing the rest of the offer. Like, if you gave him, if you asked for a 5-year balloon and you put it in at 350, but you gave him 20% down, like, I think he'd be fine with that too.
Okay, right. But I'm trying to. Obviously, the longer the better for me, right? So because market cycles, things like that. So I'm just trying to understand where his price is at and where he wants, because usually when someone's selling on seller finance, that's the most important thing to them is the price. I get other terms are important, but if I can at least figure out where that price is at, then I can know, like, hey, here's what I can come in with down, whether that's 10-20%. Here's what the interest rate would look like. Here's what your P&I payment would be in order for me to be able to cash flow off the property. So I'm just asking you, can you talk to him and see what that actual number is for him to hold it for 5 years?
I think he would tell you exactly what I told you, which is it would depend on what the rest of the offer looks like.
Okay. But obviously, when you sell a property, like, you're like, hey, I want this price, and then terms can be worked out. So,
Not necessarily. I don't think he's like that.
okay, well, can we not, like, I guess, assume and do all the thinking? Can you please just ask him, and then I can actually come up with something in writing and be like, hey, here's what works at this price.
Yeah, so I would say those prices are 350 and 375.
Right, but you keep telling me that you assume and you think. So I'm not, like,
Yeah, because
confident
I know
that you.
Look, okay, so I know that if I call my seller and I say, hey, somebody wants to submit an LOI, they want to know what price, he's gonna say exactly what I told you, which is it will depend on what the other terms look like. Like, I've said this like 5 times. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. It will depend on what the other terms look like. I mean, if it takes you 15 minutes to submit an LOI, it's 15 minutes. Like, I don't think it's gonna take you 5 hours.
Yeah, no, but
Like, I have to.
I'm not, like I said, I don't want to waste my time or yours. I'd rather just know and be like, hey, either it works or it doesn't. We either actually move forward, or we're just like, hey, we can just part ways and we don't have to go back and forth 4 different times to figure out what's going to work. So usually either the seller wants their price or they want terms. And so I'm just trying to figure out, okay, at this price, here's the terms that I could give for it to still be able to cash flow for me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you submit 2 LOIs, one at 350 and one at 375, I'm sure, depending on how the rest of your terms shake out, that he's going to prefer one over the other.
Okay, but you're saying that you think that's where he's at on these numbers, and I'm just asking you to give me to be confident.
I can get him on the phone, but I'm 99% sure he's going to say it depends on how the rest of the offer shakes out. You can't ask a client to sign off on something and be like, yes, of course I will accept an offer at 375.
Well, I mean, he has it listed right now for 349, so he's saying, I will, yes, accept an offer for 349 if it's a traditional sale.
Yeah, correct. If it's a traditional sale, you're paying him off
So
entirely.
it's the same thing. If he wants to do seller finance, he will have a number. He'll say, yes, I will accept a seller finance offer at this number. It works the same way.
That's accurate. Look, I can call him, but you're gonna hear the same. You're gonna hear the same answer from me.
Okay.
I don't know how long it's gonna take you to prepare an LOI. If you want to prepare one.
I mean, I'm even happy. We can hop on a 3-way call with him.
He's in Colorado right now, so I don't know. He's on vacation. I'll call him, but
Yeah, I mean it's 8:45. I'm from there too, or live there. My
I
phone
can
number.
call and I'll let you know, but he's probably gonna say this exact same thing. It depends on what the rest of the terms shake out like.
Okay. Yeah, I think let's just give him a call, see what he says. Figure out what that number
Okay.
is, and then we can go from there.